Hello everyone, this is Suchi. Welcome to my channel. In our last video, we have learned about the transportation in the plants. Today, let's know about the transportation in human beings. The transport system is also known as circulatory system, which comprises of the group of organs, tissues and cells that help to transport nutrients, gases, hormones and waste products throughout the body. The main components of the circulatory system are circulatory medium, that is blood and lymph, and blood vessels, that is arteries, veins and capillaries. The main components of the blood are plasma, red blood corpuscles or red blood cells or RBC, white blood cells or WBC and platelets. Blood consists of a fluid medium called plasma. Plasma accounts for around 55% of the blood fluid, which helps in the transport of food, that is glucose, proteins, vitamins and fats, along with some mineral salts and hormones. It also transports carbon dioxide and nitrogenous wastes in the dissolved form. Remaining 45% of the blood is comprised of RBC, WBC and platelets. RBCs transport oxygen to the lungs and from the lungs. Hemoglobin present in RBC is a protein that contains iron, which has high affinity or attraction towards oxygen, and this helps in the transport of oxygen. WBCs form the vital defenses against diseases and infections. Platelets help in the clotting of the blood and helps to stop the bleeding. Bone marrow produces RBC, WBC and platelets, and from there they enter the bloodstream. Now we need some help to ensure all these activities, that is a pumping organ to push blood around the body, a network of tubes to reach all the tissues, a system to maintain and repair the damaged network. Now let's know about the organ which helps in the pumping of the blood. That is, our pump is heart. Heart acts as the organ which helps as a pumping machine for transportation. The heart is a muscular organ which is of the size of our fist. It has four chambers. The two upper chambers, that is right and left atria or thin walled chambers. The two lower chambers, that is right and left ventricles, are thick walled chambers that forcefully pump blood out of the heart. Differences in the thickness of the heart chambers reflects the amount of the force each chamber is required to generate. As both oxygen and carbon dioxide have to be transported by the blood, the heart has different chambers to prevent the oxygen rich blood, that is oxygenated blood, from mixing with the blood containing carbon dioxide, that is deoxygenated blood. The carbon dioxide rich blood has to reach the lungs for the carbon dioxide to be removed, and the oxygenated blood from the lungs has to be brought back to the heart. This oxygen rich blood is then pumped to the rest of the body. This process is carried out step by step as follows. Oxygen rich blood from the lungs comes to the thin walled upper chambers of the heart on the left, that is the left atrium. While collecting the blood, the left atrium relaxes. Then the left atrium contracts, left ventricle relaxes, and the blood is transferred to the left ventricle. Then the thick wall contracts and the blood is forcefully pumped out of the body. The deoxygenated blood, that is carbon dioxide rich blood, comes from the body to the upper chamber on the right, that is the right atrium, as it relaxes. Next, the right atrium contracts, right ventricle, the lower chamber relaxes or dilates, which facilitates the flow of the blood to the right ventricle. which in turn pumps to the lungs for oxygenation. Valves ensure that the blood does not flow backwards when the atria and the ventricles contract. So, in brief, we can say that the left side of the heart is for the transport of oxygen rich blood, and the right side of the heart is for the transport of deoxygenated blood. There are valves that ensure that the blood does not flow backwards when the atria and ventricles contract. The separation of the right side and the left side of the heart avoids mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. Animals like amphibians and many reptiles have three chambered hearts which tolerate some mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. Fishes have two chambered heart. Blood is pumped to the gills, gets oxygenated here and supplied to the whole body directly. Now let's know the concept double circulation. What is double circulation and why is it necessary? It is a mechanism in which blood circulates twice through the heart in one complete cycle. It is necessary in humans to separate oxygenated and deoxygenated blood as there allows a highly efficient oxygen supply to the body and also helps in maintaining a constant body temperature. This was about the circulation of the blood. Now let's know about the tubular network that helps in the reach of the oxygenated blood to all the tissues. These tubes are blood vessels, that is arteries and veins, and also blood capillaries. Arteries are the vessels that carry blood from the heart to the various organs of the body. Blood is under high pressure as the blood coming from the heart, that is, oxygenated blood, is under high pressure. Arteries have thick elastic walls and tolerate high pressure. Veins collect the deoxygenated blood from the different organs and bring it back to the heart. They do not need thickness or thick walls as the blood is no longer under pressure. When the artery reaches an organ or a tissue, it divides into smaller and smaller vessels to supply the blood in each and every cell. The smallest vessels have very thin walls and these are called capillaries. These thin walls help in the exchange of material between blood and the surrounding cells. These capillaries then join together to form veins that take away the blood from the organ or tissue, that is, deoxygenated blood is taken from the tissues to the heart again. Now let's know about the maintenance of this network. How is this network exactly maintained? This is done by platelets. In case of any injury, if we see bleeding, which in turn leads to the loss of pressure, which reduces the efficiency of the pumping system. To control all these, the blood has platelets which close these injured areas by helping the blood to clot. We also have one more fluid for transportation, that is lymph. We already know that lymph is another fluid involved in the transportation. Through the pores present in the walls of the capillaries, some amount of plasma, proteins, and blood cells pass into the intercellular spaces in the tissues and form lymph or the tissue fluid, which is colorless and contain less skin. Lymph carries digested and absorbed fat from intestine and drains excess fluid back into the blood. Lymph drains into lymphatic capillaries which join to form large lymph vessels that finally open into larger veins. This was all about the transportation in the human beings. Now let's know about blood pressure. What is this blood pressure? The force that blood exerts against the wall of a vessel is called blood pressure. This pressure is much greater in arteries than in veins. The pressure of the blood inside the artery during ventricular systole, that is contraction, is called as systolic pressure. The pressure in the artery during ventricular diastole, that is relaxation, is called diastolic pressure. Normal systolic pressure is 120 millimeter of mercury and diastolic pressure is 80 mmHg. This blood pressure is measured by an instrument called sphygmomanometer. Increase in blood pressure is called hypertension, which is caused by the constriction of arterioles, which results in the increased resistance of the blood flow. So, this was all about the transportation in human beings and regarding blood pressure. Hope the concept was clear. For any doubts and queries, you can arise. Also, you can make a request. Please watch, share, and comment. Also, subscribe and click on the bell to get notified and support. Thanks for watching.